On yet another Tuesday evening in Manhattan, Thaddeus, known as Thad Blackwood, strode confidently across the polished marble floors of Lou Jordan, a contender for the title of the most exclusive restaurant in the Upper East Side, his Italian leather shoes clicking with purpose. By the age of 33, he had become familiar with the experience of dining alone, discovering an unusual solace in the solitude that accompanied his achievements. The maitre d' instantly identified him. After all, he had been a regular every Tuesday for the last 3 years, ever since he assumed the role of CEO at Blackwood Technologies. "Your regular table, Mr. Blackwood?" Marcel, the maitre d', waved with refined grace toward the corner table that offered a view of Central Park. The late autumn sunset adorned the sky with vibrant oranges and purples, a sight that would require most to spend a month's salary to savor alongside their meal. "Thank you, Marcel." Thad straightened his tailored charcoal suit jacket, a subtle gesture born from the tension of board meetings. The eatery buzzed softly with hushed dialogues and the delicate sound of exquisite porcelain meeting, a harmonious blend of luxury and sophistication that often provided solace after grueling 14-hour workdays. A young sommelier came forward with the wine list, but Thad dismissed it with a wave of his hand. The typical Bordeaux Thomas. He had memorized the names of every staff member present. Another practice his father had ingrained in him before he passed away and bequeathed him the company. "Success is forged through connections, my boy," he had remarked, "even those that appear trivial." As Thomas stepped away to grab the wine, Thad's fingers wandered lightly along the edge of his phone screen. 3 missed calls from his mother echoed in his mind. Likely yet another effort to pair him with a certain young lady. She had never fully absolved him for allowing Autumn to fade away 9 years prior. The recollection of Autumn's brilliance lingered like a delicate wound, minor yet piercing, causing the most discomfort at the most unexpected moments. Just as he was poised to dive into his emails, something unexpected drew his attention. A well-known laugh that sparked a thrill within him. It was a laugh that lingered in his memories, the sort that would rouse him from slumber on leisurely Sunday mornings. His head turned instinctively toward the sound, and time itself appeared to freeze in that moment. Autumn was being led to a table across the restaurant. Her copper hair had been trimmed, cascading just past her shoulders in refined waves. Yet she retained that same fluid grace in her movements that had initially captivated him at their college graduation. She donned a rich green dress that caused her eyes to glimmer, even from afar. Yet, it was not merely her presence that caused his breath to hitch in his throat. Strolling alongside her, a trio of identical little girls mirrored her every move. Each possessed the warm hues of autumn in their hair, and as they approached, he could discern the familiar steel gray of his own eyes. They appeared to be approximately 9 years of age. The calculations were straightforward. His hand clutched the edge of the table with such intensity that his knuckles blanched to a stark white. One of the girls held a book close, her gaze fixed downward as she strolled, almost colliding with a waiter. Another was scanning the restaurant with keen interest, absorbing every detail as if she were committing it to memory for future reference. The third walked with impeccable posture, her chin elevated in a manner that sharply evoked memories of his own mother for Thad. He stood still, captivated, as they took their seats at a table merely 2 sections from his own, near enough to catch fragments of their dialogue, so near that it was inevitable for Autumn to take notice of him. Thomas came back with the wine, yet Thad hardly acknowledged him. His thoughts surged with recollections, the last glimpse of Autumn, their last dispute over his decision to assume control of the company rather than launching a venture together, the manner in which she vanished without a word afterward. He sought her out, but she had altered her number, relocated, and her family had fortified their defenses. At that moment, understanding dawned upon him. One of the girls, the inquisitive one, was already gazing in his direction, her head tilted slightly as if attempting to decipher a mystery. He could see his own emotions reflected in her face, and it sent his heart into a frenzy. The burden of his unawareness, the depth of his loss, loomed over him like an impending storm, ready to engulf him. Is it time for him to rise and depart? Ought he to face her? Should he act as if he hadn't noticed them? 9 years of business training, of making million-dollar decisions in seconds, and none of it had equipped him for this moment. In that moment, Autumn lifted her gaze, and their eyes locked from opposite ends of the restaurant. The hue faded from her complexion, and the menu she clutched fell from her grasp, clattering against the delicate china. For what seemed like an endless stretch of time, neither of them stirred. The lively restaurant gradually blurred into the background, leaving just the pounding of Thad's heartbeat echoing in his ears. The inquisitive girl, whom he now regarded as his own, tugged at Autumn's sleeve and murmured something that jolted her back to the present moment. "Mom, why does that man resemble the image in your memory box?" The girl's voice reached Thad, each word striking like a hammer against the meticulously crafted barrier he had erected to shield his past. Autumn swiftly composed herself, her years of experience as a high school drama teacher shining through in her ability to bounce back. "Skylar, darling, let's concentrate on selecting your dinner." Yet, her hands quivered ever so slightly as she retrieved the fallen menu, and Thad noticed the quick rise and fall of her chest, a habit she'd always exhibited when feeling anxious. The avid reader's daughter glanced up from her book. He could now perceive it as a distortion in time, examining him with a focus that evoked the sensation of gazing into a mirror. The third girl, the one with impeccable posture, leaned in to share a secret with her sisters, prompting a chorus of giggles, while their mother's expression stayed taut. Thad's wine remained undisturbed, droplets of condensation racing down the glass, mirroring the nervous sweat accumulating on his palms. A myriad of questions surged through his thoughts. Why did she keep it from him? How could she possibly hide this from him? What were the names of those individuals? Were they aware of anything regarding him? The burden of 9 years devoid of bedtime tales and the excitement of first school days weighed heavily upon him. His phone vibrated, yet another call from his mother. If she only realized she had become a grandmother to triplets. The idea almost brought a chuckle, highlighting the sheer ridiculousness of the situation. His mother, who had been nagging him about grandchildren for years, had 3 she had never met. Marcel glided over to Autumn's table with his characteristic flair, and Thad caught the sound of his warm greeting. "Ah, Miss Sterling, it's a pleasure to see you again. And the young women, Skylar, Phoenix, and River. What a delight it is to reunite with all of you once more. Were they frequent visitors to this place? How had he never encountered them before?" The names reverberated in his mind: Skylar, Phoenix, River. He aligned them with his observations. Skylar seemed to be the inquisitive one, Phoenix the intellectual, and River the refined lady. The names were stunning, precisely the sort of distinctive and significant selections he would have anticipated from Autumn. She had always cherished the connection between nature and humanity, forever envisioning names that conveyed tales. "Mom," Phoenix's voice was gentler than Skylar's, yet distinct enough. "Isn't that the man from your previous business plan? The one captured in the coffee shop image?" Autumn's cheeks warmed, and Thad's thoughts raced back to the dream they had woven together. A series of imaginative coffee shops named Sterling Black, merging her artistic flair with his entrepreneurial acumen. The scheme they had tirelessly refined through countless sleepless nights, the aspiration that had faded when he opted to assume control of his father's business instead. River, embodying her graceful composure, adjusted her silverware and articulated her thoughts with deliberate precision. "Mother, I think it would be rather rude to gawk, although he does have quite the notable likeness." "Girls," Autumn interjected, her voice a blend of tension and softness. "Please, let's savor our celebration dinner together." Festivity? Thad's thoughts surged like a whirlwind. What was the occasion for their celebration? Had he overlooked their birthday? What is one of their accomplishments? How many other festivities had he overlooked? He realized he was standing there, even though he hadn't actively chosen to be. His legs felt stiff and unyielding as he made his way to their table. He noticed the surprise in Autumn's eyes, her hand moving reflexively as if to shield their daughters. Thomas materialized beside him. "Excuse me, sir? Is everything okay with the wine?" Thad hardly registered his words. 9 years of board meetings had instilled in him the ability to navigate with intention, even as chaos swirled around him. Every step toward their table was akin to wading through thick, murky water, yet he persevered. He needed to find out. He needed to grasp the situation. The girls observed his approach with a mix of reactions. Skylar's eager curiosity, Phoenix's keen evaluation peeking over her book, and River's impeccably measured observation. 3 distinct reflections of his own visage stared back at him, intertwined with Autumn's traits in a manner that stirred a deep ache within his heart. Autumn rose to her feet as he approached their table, positioning herself slightly in front of the girls in a naturally defensive manner. Upon closer inspection, he noticed that time had treated her well. She appeared even more stunning than he recalled, with delicate laugh lines framing her eyes that hinted at happiness he had not shared. "Thad," she murmured, her voice just a soft breath, yet still holding that melodic charm that once brought him joy each dawn. Now it filled his chest with a tightness reminiscent of autumn, as he struggled to recognize his own voice, which sounded strange to his ears. Then, unable to restrain himself, he gazed at each of the girls in succession. And Skylar, Phoenix, and River. The ensuing silence was overwhelming. Skylar was the first to shatter the silence, leaning in with her elbows resting on the table, undeterred by River's disapproving look. "Ah, so you are the one. The gentleman from the cafe establishes his greenery. Mom keeps them close to her." "Skylar," Autumn cautioned, though her voice quivered just a bit. The restaurant surrounding them carried on with its graceful ballet of servers and hushed dialogues, completely unaware of the emotional upheaval unfolding at their table. "Please," Thad said, his voice thick with emotion. "May I sit?" He motioned toward the vacant chair at their table, his gaze fixed intently on Autumn's face. She paused for a moment, then offered a slight nod, retreating into her own seat. Phoenix gently placed a bookmark in her book and set it down with care. Her gray eyes, his eyes, scrutinizing him with a fervor that constricted his throat. "Mother mentioned that you excel in business," she stated plainly. "Your company's success serves as a compelling case study in her economics class." Thad's eyebrows arched in surprise as he gazed at Autumn. "Economics course?" A delicate flush graced her cheeks. "I currently instruct business and drama at Wellington Prep. The students tend to engage effectively with real-world examples." River straightened up even more, as if that were achievable. "Mother is the most youthful department head they have ever appointed. She has achieved a great deal." A fierce sense of guardianship resonated in her voice, causing Thad's heart to ache. These girls had been instilled with the importance of watching over their mother, becoming her protectors. A person distinct from him. He spoke gently, recalling how Autumn had consistently outshone everyone in intelligence, even if she never chose to show it. "Your talent for imparting knowledge has always been remarkable. To assist individuals in recognizing their capabilities. Just as she did with you?" Skylar inquired with a sense of naivety, yet the way Autumn's complexion drained at the question revealed a deeper, unsettling truth. Memories surged forth. The late nights spent together in autumn, guiding him through his business finals, her insightful ideas during his internship presentations, and the constant encouragement to expand his horizons and aspire for greater dreams, until he opted for the secure route rather than pursuing their collective aspiration. Indeed, he responded truthfully, his gaze fixed on Autumn. Precisely in that manner. A server made his way to their table, pausing at the palpable tension, before finally clearing his throat. "Should I include another setting, Ms. Sterling?" Before Autumn had a chance to reply, River interjected with impeccable social finesse. "Absolutely, that sounds great. Today, we gather to honor our academic accomplishments, and it feels fitting to have everyone who is interested in attendance." She stressed the final words in a manner that left Thad questioning just how much these girls were aware of him. He inquired, taking advantage of the opportunity to discuss academic accomplishments. Phoenix inclined her head, a faint smile dancing on her lips. "We were all honored with unique acknowledgement. I triumphed at the regional science fair with my innovative project focused on sustainable urban farming. I got the lead in the school play, Skylar exclaimed, practically bouncing in her seat. I'm taking on the role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And I, River declared with a sense of noble pride, was chosen as the youngest student body president in the school's history. Thad experienced a gut-wrenching sensation, as if he'd taken a hard blow to the stomach. They possessed such remarkable talents, such brilliance, reflecting aspects of both him and Autumn in unique ways. His gaze smoldered as he beheld Autumn. They are truly remarkable, he murmured. She nodded gently, then with a touch of firmness in her tone, remarked that they had possessed all they required. The silence was palpable, a weighty presence that conveyed they had no need for you. Yet, gazing upon these three extraordinary young women, his daughters, Thad found himself questioning the validity of that belief now. The waiter came back with the place settings, and as he meticulously arranged them, Thad caught sight of something that sent a chill through him. On Phoenix's book rested a well-known leather bookmark. One he had gifted Autumn long ago, inscribed with their cherished quote, "Certain infinities surpass others in magnitude." She held on to it. Throughout all these years, she held on to it. Now their daughter was using it, likely unaware of its importance. How many other fragments of him had Autumn intricately woven into their daughters' lives without their awareness? "Mr. Blackwood," River interjected with a sense of formality, drawing him back from his reverie. "Since you're partaking in our celebratory dinner, might you be interested in hearing about our future plans as well? Our approach to middle school has been notably strategic. Junior high." The words struck him with the force of heavy stones. His daughters were envisioning their futures, and he was encountering them for the very first time. The burden of all he had overlooked bore heavily upon him, looming like a shadow ready to engulf him entirely. The waiter approached with menus, momentarily alleviating the tension in the air. Thad observed the distinct approaches each girl took with the menu. Phoenix was methodical in her comparisons. Skylar exuded an infectious excitement as she flipped through the pages, and River, though too young to order wine, scrutinized the list with a thoughtful intensity. "The cocoa vin is exceptional here," Thad remarked instinctively, then recognized that he was offering menu recommendations to his own daughters as though they were colleagues in a business meeting. The ridiculousness of the scenario loomed large, ready to engulf him. "That's Mom's favorite," Skylar exclaimed with enthusiasm. "She consistently chooses it for special occasions." She paused, tilting her head thoughtfully. "Have you heard about that? Is that the reason you choose it as well?" Autumn's grip on her water glass grew firmer. "Skylar, keep in mind our conversation regarding personal inquiries?" "But Mom," Skylar argued, "you always say that understanding is strength. It appears that Mr. Blackwood possesses quite a bit of knowledge regarding you. Additionally, he shares our gray eyes and exhibits that same subtle crease between his eyebrows when deep in thought, reminiscent of the expression River wears while crafting her student council speeches." Phoenix glanced up from her menu, her keen intellect evidently assembling the details in her mind. "He shares the same habit of touching his left cuff when he's nervous, much like I do during science presentations. Girls, could you please listen to Autumn?" Her voice sounded strained. "No," Thad interjected softly. "They are entitled to clarity." He cast his gaze upon each girl in succession before settling on Autumn. "They are entitled to the truth." "What is the reality?" River's voice was deliberate and precise. "Exploring the significance of your photo in Mom's cherished memory box. On the reason she holds onto the vintage sterling black business plans tucked away in her desk drawer. Exploring the reasons behind her silence on Father's Day." Autumn fell into a profound silence, and Thad sensed as though the very air had been drawn from the space around him. He was unaware of Father's Day. She still thought of him, and that was a surprise. Or perhaps River continued with that same meticulous attention about why Mom accepted that teaching position at Wellington Prep 9 years ago, despite it being across the country from where you were establishing your company. The elements abruptly fell into alignment. Wellington Prep was located in Seattle. That explains why he had never encountered them here previously. They are surely in New York for a noteworthy event. The local science exhibition, the theatrical performance, the student government role. These were extraordinary accomplishments. These were the motivations that drew them back to the place where their journey first unfolded. "You moved to Seattle," he murmured, his gaze fixed on Autumn. "That explains why I was unable to locate you." "I had to," she whispered, and for the first time, he noticed tears glistening in her eyes. "You have selected your journey. I had to select my own. Can you share without providing details about them?" The words escaped him with an unexpected edge, and he noticed the three girls recoil ever so slightly. "You made it abundantly clear that Blackwood Technologies was your main focus," Autumn remarked, her tone strained. "The evening you informed me of your decision to lead the company rather than embark on Sterling Black with me, you stated, and I quote, 'Some dreams must perish for others to thrive.' Do you recall?" He recalled. He had been utterly certain that he was making the right choice, stepping into his father's shoes, ensuring his future, their future, as he believed back then. He was unaware that their future was already blossoming within her. 3 delicate lives destined to inherit his gray eyes and her indomitable spirit. 3 weeks after that night, Autumn continued, her voice a whisper. "I discovered I was pregnant, accompanied by triplets. I visited your office to share something, but that stomach just plummeted." He anticipated her next words with precision. For years, the memory of that day lingered in his mind, though not for the reasons he had initially believed. Yet there I was, caught in a board meeting, as he completed her thought, his voice echoing emptily. "My assistant mentioned that I was too occupied to meet with anyone, including you. I had clearly stated that I should not be disturbed under any circumstances." Skylar inhaled quietly, as Phoenix's hand slipped beneath the table to grasp her mother's. For the first time, River's flawless posture wavered as she glanced between her parents. "You never returned," Thad remarked, the truth striking him with the force of a tangible impact. "That marked the final attempt you made to connect with me. What would have been the purpose?" Autumn inquired, and now the tears flowed without restraint. "You had made your decision. The business owned by your father. Your enduring impact. I had no intention of being the one to ensnare you in a life that wasn't of your own making." The stillness that ensued was pierced solely by the soft chime of delicate porcelain from adjacent tables. Thad gazed at his hands, splayed out against the immaculate white tablecloth, grappling with the enormity of what he had forfeited with a single instruction to his assistant. "Silence, please. You believed you were shielding me," he said, his gaze rising to meet Autumn's. "In your silence, you believed you were granting me the freedom to chase my dreams. Weren't those aspirations more valuable to you than anything else?" The sharpness in her tone was softened by lingering sorrow. "Is the remarkable Thaddeus Blackwood poised to follow in his father's footsteps and construct an empire?" "An empty empire," he responded, his voice trembling. "Are you aware of what I accomplished with Sterling Black? What are our plans?" Each of them regarded him with the same look of intrigue. Even River appeared to abandon her flawless posture as she leaned in a bit. "I created it regardless. 3 years prior. Not in the capacity of our coffee shop chain, but rather as a philanthropic organization. It provides financial support for arts education and business training aimed at empowering underprivileged youth. Each time I strolled by the coffee shop, memories of our dream flooded back to me. Your memory lingered in my thoughts." Autumn's hand darted to her mouth. "What about the Sterling Black Foundation? That is yours." He affirmed it was his, then turned his gaze toward the girls. "And now I guess it belongs to them as well, in addition to all the other matters at hand." Phoenix's sharp intellect was evidently in overdrive. "The organization that provided financial support for our school's new performing arts center? Is that named after my mother?" Thad spoke gently. "It's named after both of us. Sterling Black. I constantly reflect on the possibilities of what we might have created together." Skylar, usually so reserved, suddenly found her voice. "Every time she comes across the foundation in the paper, Mom can't help but shed tears. She keeps all the articles organized." "Skylar," River interjected with a fierce intensity, a shield of protectiveness that tugged at Thad's heart. The girls had spent their childhood observing their mother bear this weight by herself. "No, it's all right," Autumn replied, dabbing her eyes with her napkin. It is essential for them to be aware. I preserved every article because I wanted you all to understand that your FA, that Mr. Blackwood was making a positive impact in the world. He was more than mere profit margins and corporate takeovers. Yet you never mentioned our connection, Phoenix remarked, her tone laced with a subtle reproach. We might have had the chance to know him. We might have contributed to that meaningful endeavor. Did you wish for that? Thad inquired abruptly, his gaze shifting from one girl to the next. To understand me? To join my journey? In a sense, we already are, River responded with a touch of diplomacy. Mother ensured we were aware of Blackwood Technologies' efforts towards environmental sustainability. We have been observing the philanthropic efforts of your organization. We are equal. She cast a quick look at her sisters, who offered silent support with their nods. Last year, we even invested our allowance money in shares of the company. 1 share for everyone. Thad sensed an overwhelming surge within his chest. What about your shareholders? Just a few small ones, Phoenix clarified. However, we desired to possess a fragment of, indeed, your realm. Even if you were unaware of our existence. I would have given you the world, Thad whispered, his voice thick with feeling. Everything. All that I created, all that I embody, it could have belonged to you. It ought to have belonged to you. What comes next? Skylar inquired, her typical vibrant curiosity dimmed by a profound yearning. Is it possible for it to belong to us now? Autumn extended her hand toward her daughter, but Thad interjected before she could say anything. It already exists. Regardless of your desires or preparedness, all that I possess is entirely yours. My identity, my enterprise, my cause, and my soul, if you would accept it. Autumn's sudden gasp pierced the stillness of the moment. Thad, you simply cannot. What can't you just do? His voice carried a softness yet held a resolute strength. Unable to provide my daughters with what is justly theirs. Is it possible to compensate for 9 years of missed opportunities? It's not that straightforward, Autumn argued, but River cut in with an uncharacteristic intensity in her typically composed tone. Why isn't it? She inquired, her flawless composure wavering just a bit. Why does it have to be so complicated? We have journeyed through life, only grasping a fragment of our true selves. Perusing articles about our father in business publications, tuning into his interviews on CNBC, feigning interest in tales of corporate triumphs as she took a moment to gather her thoughts. Ultimately, we were just curious whether our passion for numbers came from him or from you. The numbers are definitely from him, Autumn remarked gently, a faint smile dancing on her lips. Creativity has always been my strong suit. Yet both of you reside within us, Phoenix noted, her keen intellect evidently in overdrive. When Skylar performs, she embodies your dramatic flair, Mom, while also channeling Dad's strategic thinking in her approach to each role. The term, Dad lingered in the atmosphere like a delicate soap bubble, and Thad sensed his heart flutter upon hearing it for the first time. As River takes charge of the student council meetings, Skylar brings a touch of warmth to the discussion. She employs her mother's teaching methods alongside her father's negotiation tactics. We've seen all your TED Talks, she remarked, casting a shy glance at Thad. Every single one? Thad inquired, his voice thick with feeling. On several occasions, Phoenix affirmed. An examination of your public speaking patterns, management philosophies, and approach to corporate responsibility has been conducted. It feels as though we've been preparing for an exam we never anticipated would come our way. The waiter returned, his expression tinged with hesitation. Would you like to place an order? Indeed, River asserted firmly, once more assuming control. It's essential for everyone to take a moment to thoroughly examine the menus. And perhaps, she remarked with a meaningful glance at her mother, to explore new possibilities. As they all reached for their menus, Thad observed the subtle tremor in Autumn's hands. He longed to offer support as he once did before her college theater performances, yet he felt he no longer had that privilege. Or perhaps he did. Autumn, he murmured as the girls discussed appetizers. I understand this is overwhelming for all of us, but they're truly remarkable. Your efforts in nurturing them are truly commendable. If you allow me, I wish to dedicate my life to earning their worthiness. Striving to be worthy of you. We cannot simply wipe away 9 years, she murmured. Indeed, he concurred. Perhaps we can create something entirely fresh. Something far superior to sterling black might have existed. In unity, before Autumn had a chance to reply, Skylar's voice interjected with its usual fervor. Mom, they're serving your beloved chocolate souffle for dessert. Do you recall mentioning that it brought back memories of your first date with? She halted suddenly, glancing back and forth between her parents, her eyes growing wider. With father. Here you go. In this dining establishment. The recollection struck them both at the same moment. Their initial outing at Le Jardin, struggling to manage it on their graduate student finances, savoring that singular souffle as they could only indulge in one dessert together. Had Autumn been visiting this place all these years, consistently choosing the same dessert, preserving that cherished memory? The expression in her eyes revealed all the truths he sought. If you're finding this video enjoyable and crave more content of this nature, don't forget to click that subscribe button and activate the notification bell. In this manner, you will be sure to catch all the incredible narratives we have in store for you. Your encouragement truly aids in the channel's expansion and allows us to continue delivering more of what you enjoy. Thanks a lot. The waiter came back to take their orders, offering a momentary pause from the emotional intensity. Thad observed the distinct ways each girl placed her order. Phoenix sought intricate details about the preparation methods. Skylar made her choice with vibrant enthusiasm, and River skillfully negotiated a subtle modification to the menu with a touch of diplomacy. Much like a board meeting, he whispered, drawing a curious glance from Autumn, the analyst, the innovator, and the negotiator. They embody the ideal corporate synergy. They're not a corporate team, Autumn remarked with a hint of edge before her tone mellowed. They are merely girls. Our daughters, who should be free to simply be girls. Thad gave a slow nod. Indeed, you are correct. I apologize, I believe I'm seeking ways to connect with them through the soul realm I've inhabited for the last 9 years. We don't mind, Phoenix interjected, clearly having been attentive. I've been curious about your recent shift towards investments in sustainable technology. The market analysis you released last quarter indicated. Phoenix, Autumn interjected softly. Perhaps we could postpone the business discussion for. When is it scheduled for? River confronted the challenge, astonishing all with her fervor. For an additional 9 years? Mother, we have navigated this topic with great caution throughout our lives. In his vicinity, about our identity. Perhaps it's time to cease the charade of being merely 3 exceptional students at Wellington Prep. Skylar nodded with enthusiasm. Indeed. Do you have any idea how challenging it is to act like we don't see when the business newspapers feature Dad's picture on the cover? Or when other kids discuss the latest initiative from the Sterling Black Foundation? Or when Grandmother Sterling mentions that we possess our father's business acumen but declines to elaborate further on him? Phoenix spoke softly. Thad's head jerked upward. Does Margaret still mention me? It was purely by chance, River clarified. Typically following her second glass of wine during festive dinners. She has a photo of you and Mom from college in her study, yet she always turns it face down when we come over. The name Margaret Sterling evoked a fresh surge of recollections. Her passionate backing of his and Autumn's college relationship, her heartbreak when they parted ways. He had often pondered whether she was aware of the girls, if she had played a role in the choice to keep them away from him. She never forgave me, he murmured, for prioritizing the business over her daughter. Autumn made a correction for everyone, though her tone had softened considerably. It seems we may not have allowed you the opportunity to make a different choice. Would you possess? Skylar inquired abruptly. Selected in another way? Had you been aware of our existence? The inquiry lingered, resonating like a held chord in a grand composition. Thad surveyed the expressions of everyone around him. These extraordinary girls, bearing his DNA, were molded by Autumn's love and nurturing influence. He reflected on the solitary years spent at the pinnacle of Blackwood Technologies, the hollow triumph of every successful merger, the vacant penthouse he returned to each evening. Without hesitation, he replied, his voice gritty with determination. All that I have created, all that I have accomplished, pales in significance to what I lost with you. Together with all of you. Autumn's breath hitched, and he noticed tears welling up in her eyes once more. The girls shared fleeting looks, a silent understanding flowing among them. Well, River said, adjusting her silverware with careful intent, perhaps it's not too late to choose a different path now. The arrival of their appetizers brought a fleeting sense of normalcy to the surreal evening. Thad observed Phoenix as she carefully captured images of her dish for her research, while Skylar eagerly indulged without hesitation, and River patiently held back, waiting for the others to begin before savoring her first deliberate bite. So, Thad inquired, you're all situated in Seattle now? At Wellington Preparatory School. Not for long, Skylar exclaimed with enthusiasm, only to swiftly clamp her hand over her mouth as River cast her a cautionary glance. Whoops! Autumn let out a soft breath, placing her fork on the table. We had planned to make the announcement this evening, to be honest. Prior to all of this, I have received an offer to take on the role of head of creative arts and business education at Riverside Academy, presently in New York. Thad felt a sudden jolt in his chest. Riverside? That's just a short 10-minute drive from the headquarters of Blackwood Technologies. We understand, Phoenix remarked with significance. We conducted thorough research on the school's location in relation to various points of interest throughout the city. Autumn added softly that the girls had been accepted into their gifted program, comprehensive scholarships. We intended to relocate here this summer ahead of the upcoming school year. River grasped the past tense right away. Mother, surely this won't alter our plans? If anything, Phoenix interjected. Being close to both parents could offer greater chances for academic and personal development. Skylar nodded with great enthusiasm. Additionally, the quality of their drama department is outstanding. They have a business innovation club that collaborates directly with real companies. She let her voice fade, casting a hopeful glance at Thad. And perhaps, he suggested thoughtfully, they might be inclined to collaborate with the Sterling Black Foundation? Or perhaps the Youth Mentorship Program by Blackwood Technologies. Thad, Autumn cautioned, yet he noticed the determination fading in her gaze. I'm not attempting to win their favor, he said hastily. However, these programs are indeed in existence. They are crafted for the exceptional intellects I observe gathered around this table. Is it just to withhold opportunities from them solely due to their father's involvement? Their father? Autumn murmured gently, trying out the words. Hearing that spoken aloud remains quite peculiar. Odd yet factual, River announced with her usual tact. As the president-elect of the student body at my current school, I can confidently assert that ignoring the truth seldom results in positive results. Phoenix placed her fork down with meticulous accuracy. I have been examining the factors related to our possible move. The educational prospects, the cultural benefits, the closeness to relatives, including recently found family members. She cast a fleeting look at Thad. The evidence compellingly backs the decision. I have already committed my audition piece for the Riverside Drama Club to memory. Skylar included. Is that from the play you and Dad performed in college, Mom? The Glass Menagerie. Autumn's hand quivered slightly as she extended it toward her glass of water. You discovered our vintage playbill? In your memory box, all three girls exclaimed together, then burst into laughter at their perfect timing. That memory box has much to account for, Thad remarked with a faint smile before his expression shifted to one of gravity. Perhaps it has been safeguarding these memories until we were prepared to confront them, until we were prepared to create new ones. River noted that Mom always insists we shouldn't dwell on the past. We must consistently gaze ahead and strategize for what lies ahead. The future, Thad mused contemplatively. I've dedicated 9 years to envisioning a future I believed was meant for me. Strategic discussions, business growth, new opportunities. As I sit here now, gazing at all of you, it dawns on me that my plans for the future have been misguided from the very start. The main courses arrived, steaming and beautifully arranged, yet the diners appeared to be more absorbed in their conversations than the meal before them. Thad observed as Autumn instinctively adjusted Skylar's napkin. an instinct of a mother he had overlooked as it blossomed. "I have a confession to make," he said suddenly, causing all four of them to glance up in surprise. "The dinner reservation for Tuesday night. It was more than mere routine. I held on to it because—" He hesitated, summoning his resolve. "This was our moment to shine. An evening for two. For 2 years during my college days, every Tuesday was a dedicated time. I suppose I haven't truly moved on from it." Just as Mom clung to the dream of the coffee shop, Phoenix watched intently. On her desk lie 3 distinct business plans, each meticulously revised to align with the current market landscape. The season wore a warm hue. "You went through my desk?" "For the sake of research," River explained with tact. "We were seeking to comprehend all things, all that we overlooked," Thad murmured gently. "All that I overlooked. Initial strides, initial utterances." Skylar began with a grin. "First business proposals. Last year, we attempted to market lemonade futures on the playground. Prospects." Thad found himself chuckling uncontrollably. "What was the outcome of that?" "We dominated the market by securing pre-sales with the teachers," Phoenix explained. "Subsequently, we channeled the profits into a cookie enterprise, which River made its way into the school cafeteria," Skylar added with pride. "The profit margins were quite respectable," River said, sitting up straighter. "However, our mother insisted that we contribute the majority of it to the school library." Autumn shook her head, a smile playing on her lips. "It was clear they inherited that drive and ambition from you. Since the age of 6, they have embarked on numerous entrepreneurial ventures." 6. Thad's voice wavered just a bit. "What was your initial endeavor?" The girls shared knowing looks before Phoenix responded. "We crafted and sold friendship bracelets. However, we added an unexpected element by providing an insurance policy. If the friendship came to an end, they could exchange the bracelet for store credit." "Credit for the store." Thad gazed at Autumn in wonder. "At the age of 6, a comprehensive return policy system has been established," she confirmed. "Finish with a survey to gauge customer satisfaction. The data provided valuable insights for enhancing our product line," Phoenix stated with a sense of gravity. Thad sensed the familiar sting of tears welling up once more. They mirrored him in many ways, yet each possessed their own distinct essence. Influenced by the wisdom of Autumn, yet inherently driven by a keen sense of enterprise. "I want to know everything," he declared abruptly, his voice charged with intensity. "Each entrepreneurial endeavor, each theatrical performance, each scientific exploration. I'm curious about their initial experiences at school, the books that captivate them, and the aspirations they hold dear. I desire—" He gazed at Autumn with a sense of desperation. "I desire to take on the role of their father. Not only in a biological sense but truly their father. If you permit me." "We want that too," River said softly, voicing the shared sentiment of all 3 girls. "We've accomplished a great deal thus far, yet—" She cast a quick look at her sisters, who offered silent support with their nods. "Yet, there has always been a sense that a crucial member was absent from the board of our life's enterprise." "That's quite a professional way to express it," Autumn remarked, her tone soft and kind. "Indeed, we are the Blackwoods," Skylar noted. Even if we had been utilizing the sterling name, the stillness that ensued was thick with potential. Thad gazed at Autumn, truly gazing at her, recognizing both the girl he had adored in college and the resilient woman who had single-handedly nurtured their daughters. "What if," he mused thoughtfully, "we ceased allowing the shadows of our past to shape our future? What if we harnessed all this love, all this potential, and created something extraordinary? Not just exceptional black coffee shops, but something more profound, a sense of family?" If you're finding this video enjoyable and crave more content of this nature, don't forget to click that subscribe button and activate the notification bell. In this manner, you will ensure that you don't overlook any of the incredible narratives we have on the horizon. Your encouragement truly aids in the channel's growth and allows us to continue delivering the content you enjoy. Thanks a lot. Autumn gently wiped her eyes with her napkin, gathering her thoughts before she spoke. Building a family is not as straightforward as establishing a business, Thad. Building trust requires time and patience. Much like a wise investment, Phoenix suggested, eliciting a faint smile from both parents. Precisely, Autumn concurred. I truly value your enthusiasm, but we must consider what is in the best interest of the girls. We're right here, River said softly. We have reached a point where our voices matter in this corporate merger. Thad found himself amused by her choice of words. Indeed, you are correct. Perhaps we ought to consider putting it to a vote. The democratic process and everything that entails. Oh, is it similar to a shareholder meeting? Skylar jostled in her chair. Now that we all hold shares, right? Though they were only minor shareholders, Phoenix reminded her sister. A smile graced her face as well. Well then, River remarked, adjusting her posture to an even more upright position if that was conceivable. As the chairperson for this meeting, I propose that we delve into the practical considerations of incorporating the CEO of Blackwood Technology into our family structure. Agreed, Phoenix chimed in, swiftly retrieving her phone. I've begun compiling a list of advantages and disadvantages. Hold on, Autumn interjected, a trace of amusement lacing her tone now. This matter cannot simply be decided with a casual vote at dinner. Why not indeed? Skylar inquired. After 9 long years of anticipation, is that not sufficient market research? Thad leaned in, his tone gentle yet filled with urgency. Observe them in Autumn. They possess remarkable insight, demonstrate deep thoughtfulness, and show a clear ability to grasp intricate scenarios. For all this time, they've observed me from a distance, seeking to understand their father through news articles and annual reports. Shouldn't they have the opportunity to truly understand who I am? And don't you deserve to uncover them? She responded softly. Their true selves, beyond mere accomplishments and professional pursuits. Their anxieties, their uncertainties, their tousled hair in the morning and their evening irritability. Everything, he asserted with conviction. I desire every bit of it. The bright moments and the challenging ones. The triumphs and setbacks. The science fairs and the scraped knees. Skylar mentioned, I have a scar from falling off my bike, with a hint of helpfulness in their tone. Care to take a look? Not at the dinner table, dear, Autumn said instinctively, then realized she was slipping back into old habits of parenting in front of Thad. The weight of what it truly meant to share these moments suddenly dawned on her. I have a proposal, River announced, pulling out a small notebook, a step-by-step integration strategy, if you please, initiating weekly family dinners to create a foundation of compatibility, accompanied by planned engagements that resonate with our personal passions. Phoenix pressed on, grasping the concept swiftly. I possess a number of scientific hypotheses that I would like to explore from a new angle. I could use some assistance with my Dorothy monologue. Skylar contributed. Mom mentioned you were quite the remarkable wizard back in your college days, Dad. The word, Dad, still coursed through Thad's veins with intensity, yet this time it brought with it a wave of joy instead of sorrow. He gazed at Autumn, attempting to express the depth of his emotions solely through his eyes. She remarked gently that they have undoubtedly taken after your knack for planning. And my resolve. Perilous mix, he concurred with a grin. A temptation that will be utterly unyielding. In perfect harmony, the 3 girls exclaimed, then burst into fits of laughter. The dessert menus were presented, and without a word, they all instinctively understood what would be chosen. The chocolate souffle, a vessel of cherished memories. While they awaited its preparation, the dialogue shifted to a more earnest tone. Autumn's fingers danced along the stem of her water glass as she leaned in, her voice low and inviting. There's something else you should know, she said, drawing attention to her words. There's a secret I've kept to myself, one I haven't shared with anyone, not even the girls. All 4 of them leaned in a bit, drawn in by the weight of her words. The moment I discovered I was expecting, I made multiple attempts to convey this to you. She fixed her gaze on Thad. I visited your office 3 times that week. Every time your assistant mentioned that you were too occupied. On the 3rd attempt, I caught a glimpse of you through the transparent barriers of your office, exchanging handshakes with the members of your father's board. Thad sensed the life fade from his complexion. The week of the merger announcement. During the process of transitioning the company to private ownership. She continued, her voice laced with admiration. You appeared so content, so confident in your direction. I observed you for a full 10 minutes, standing in the lobby, one hand resting on my stomach where our daughters were developing. Your focus remained fixed on your papers, completely ignoring the lobby where I stood waiting. That was the moment I realized. What did you know? River inquired gently, her typical poise faltering. I couldn't be the one to hinder his aspirations. His father was unwell, the company required his presence, and a pregnancy, particularly one as complex as this. Autumn's voice wavered just a bit. I believed I was acting with honor, granting you the liberty to evolve into your true self. But you were both destined to be our parents, Phoenix said, her analytical tone softening with emotion. Based on my analysis, the chances of effective co-parenting would have been considerably improved if both individuals had participated from the outset. Nice job making it scientific, sis, Skylar remarked, though her eyes were glistening with tears. Thad extended his arm across the table, paused for a moment, and then softly grasped Autumn's hand. She remained close. Are you aware of what I was working on in those documents that day? He inquired softly. She gently shook her head. Plans for the growth of a coffee shop chain. I was exploring ways to acquire and transform some underperforming cafes, aiming to realize our vision with Sterling Black. I believed that if I could achieve success quickly enough, perhaps you would overlook my decision to prioritize the company. I had planned to catch you off guard with it. Oh, Autumn's eyes sparkled with the light of newfound comprehension. For 9 years, I dedicated myself to realizing another's vision, believing my own aspirations had slipped away. He tightened his grip on her hand just a bit. Yet, my vision extended beyond mere coffee shops and business strategies. It was centered around creating something alongside you. And now, there's an abundance to create. River completed for him, her voice heavy with feeling. United, Phoenix asserted decisively. With her usual fervor, Skylar wrapped up the discussion as a family. The souffle appeared at just the right moment, steam wafting from its rich surface, reminiscent of that night 9 years prior when 2 college graduates exchanged their aspirations over a sweet treat. I propose an amendment to the integration plan, River announced, her posture straightening as she struggled to hold back tears. Commencing immediately, not next week, nor after a thorough evaluation phase. At this moment. Agreed, Phoenix replied without hesitation, her eyes glimmering with a hint of suspicion. Is everyone in agreement? Skylar inquired, lifting her hand high. 4 additional hands clasped hers with unwavering certainty. As they indulged in the souffle, 5 spoons were used this time instead of 2. Marcel walked over to their table, his face reflecting a sense of regret. I apologize, Miss Sterling and Mr. Blackwood, but we are approaching the end of the day. Everyone gazed upward in astonishment. Time had slipped away, with hours feeling like mere moments. The restaurant sat in near silence, the city lights flickering outside the windows where the hues of sunset had once painted the sky at the beginning of their evening. Time takes on a unique rhythm when one is in the process of reshaping their destiny, River noted with a thoughtful air. Speaking of crafting narratives, Phoenix added, pulling out her phone, I've outlined a preliminary schedule for family activities, considering everyone's current commitments and the best chances for connection. I've already shared the news with all my friends that I'm about to become a dad, Skylar declared, prompting Autumn to almost fumble her spoon. When did you do that? A group text was sent just 4 minutes ago, River explained. Remarkably effective, though it may be a bit ahead of its time. Thad's laughter resonated, a rich and authentic sound that brought smiles to all 4 faces. It seems that spares us the need for a formal declaration. Regarding that, Autumn inquired slowly, what precisely are we revealing? This goes beyond merely you encountering the girls, Thad. This encompasses all aspects. He extended his hand toward her once more, and this time she responded, bridging the distance between them. Everything aligns perfectly with my desires. The organization, the establishment, this kinship, they no longer need to exist as distinct aspirations. They can become a shared vision realized together. With effective corporate oversight, River truly brought joy and laughter to everyone. And routine board meetings, Phoenix proposed. And evenings filled with games and laughter among loved ones. Skylar interjected. Every thriving organization requires team-building initiatives. As they collected their belongings to depart, Thad lingered for a moment, observing his newly discovered family. The girls were eagerly mapping out the activities for tomorrow, their voices intertwining in a symphony of excitement. Autumn observed them with a blend of affection and wonder, as though perceiving them from a fresh perspective. "You know," he said softly as he approached her, "I always believed my father's most important lesson was about business. He often remarked that relationships are the foundation of success. Yet I misjudged it for an extended period." He wasn't referring to professional connections. He was discussing this, Autumn concluded, pointing towards their daughters. Thad concurred regarding family, the paramount merger of them all. As they stepped out of Lujardin together, a family for the first time, the essence of their journey was unmistakable. At times, the most significant errors we make stem from our attempts to shield others from our affection instead of having the courage to express it openly. True success lies not in wealth or accolades, but in the bonds we create and the love we are prepared to defend. There's always a chance to adjust our path, to embrace love instead of fear, to transform lost chances into fresh starts. The most profound investments we can pursue are not in stocks or corporations, but in the souls of those we cherish. Thank you all for experiencing this remarkable tale. If you found it enjoyable and wish to support the channel, you can now utilize YouTube's Super Thanks feature to express your gratitude. Each input plays a vital role in enabling us to produce more of this kind of material. Remember to show your support by liking, sharing your insights on this family's journey in the comments, and passing this video along to someone who could benefit from its message. Keep in mind, love always has a way of returning when the time is right. Catch you in the next video.